Because the alternative of it being wrong never scared me, because I don't value somebody's opinion who's watching me in the stands while I'm on the field. Let me say that nice and slow for everybody. The thought that your partner, your brother, your spouse, your aunt, your mother, your best friend has judgment of what you're doing on the field of play is asinine. They are a spectator eating popcorn watching you work. That's it. I don't know what else to tell you. Like if it failed, if it failed within my own mind. I was disappointed. I was rarely confused. When my stuff fails, I'm like, it was this. So I'm pretty good like that. That's about accountability. People always trying to blame somebody else. I'm focused on blaming myself all the time. And you learn. But again, back to all those reps. This was the childhood, I did a godly amounts of things wrong as a child. Baseball card shows, the liquor store. But by the time I even got into my 20s, then through my 20s into the 30s, tons of things wrong. I'm just refined right now. I'm 46 going on 96, And so there's a lot of experience in there. And most importantly, I still make mistakes every day. I just don't dwell on them. I can't wrap my head around the logic of why. Life, I watch people very carefully. People are fundamentally insecure and overvalue other people's opinions, and it leads to incredibly vulnerable behavior. And I just want people to put themselves on the highest pedestal, and it doesn't mean you have an ego. It means you just chosen to love yourself. Like everybody sucks at stuff too.
That's very true. I think that's just a great way to look at things. When you kind of touched on passion a little earlier, and you mentioned a lot of different subjects, Power Rangers and whatnot, right? Baseball cards when you were younger, building your dad's liquor store. What is the actual passion of yours at that age? Was it growing?
It was helping operations. My parents. I was obsessed with my parents. I'm still obsessed with my parents. I was obsessed that they did it for me. They left this bad place. They had nothing. They just grinded. I went on two family vacations in my entire childhood. They sacrificed, and I knew I was talented. I knew it. I don't know what to tell you. It's why I associate with entertainers and athletes so much. They're the ones who knew at 7 or 10 let me just break it to you. Beyonce knew. She knew. She knew at 11 she was going to be a superstar. LeBron knew. And I knew. I knew that I was going to be an all-time great businessman. I just did. I knew it. I don't even know how else to explain it to you. I just knew. Yeah. And it was important to me to do right by my parents. When I tell the kids to be patient, you have time to get yours. I worked every day from 22 to 34 for my father, never made more than $100,000 a year. And that was the last year I worked for him. Every other year, I was in the 40s and 50K a year until I opened up my mouth out of disgust, because I took his business from a $3.8 million business to a $65 million business. I gave up my entire 20s and early 30s for my parents. I love when people try to razz on me. Don't listen to Garyvee's parents. I'm like, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. I made my parents rich. I'm proud of that. And I want to be transparent here, because I know that actually there's some people that maybe are debating family, towards my early 30s into before I left and AJ grew up, I started having resentment towards my dad. I built the whole damn business. I was like, Dad, what the fuck? Give me a piece of this business. He's like, you'll get it when I die. I'm like, you're going to die at 90. I'm going to be 70. And so, but that resentment changed as I got worldly, as I got older, as I saw the world. I'm like, wait, he was just in the old school immigrant mindset, right? Family business, I run it, I die, you take it. And so, that's why I'm glad I was able to work through that with myself, really. But But yeah, I was just, what drove me back then was giving back to my parents.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, that's
and I knew, and I loved being able to be the guy. You know, one of the other reasons my dad and I had friction towards the end was I became the guy. Mm-hmm. Every liquor company, every winery, everybody in the industry was like, Gary. And my dad started to feel like a schlemiel. There was this great thing he used to say to me of why he would be upset. He would say it in Russian, and it would translate to, I'm just a senator with an empty briefcase. And what that translated to in Russia, everything was black market and all, you know, and what was in the briefcase was cash, and you would trade it for, you know, life, right? And no, by the way, no different in America, they just do it different. And so, you know, it was tough for my dad. He said, you know, I'm a senator. Yeah, I'm the owner of the store, but nobody fucking talks to me because I have no money in the fucking briefcase. And so he felt less like a man. I felt like I wasn't getting compensated my impact towards the end. And it was really healthy for me. Thank God I had an 11-year younger brother who I wanted to do a business with in my lifetime. And it kind of worked out.
Absolutely. Well, let's shift our conversation to that a little bit. With VaynerMedia specifically, you were at the time you were doing the wine library, right? Primarily, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that was also for your father, essentially, to build sort of a brand around getting people to get to.
Yeah, thank you for knowing that. I knew that when I was going to leave my dad's store, which I always knew would happen, that he would fuck it up.
Right on.
You know, and I say that with love for him because he's really transforming lately. He went to VCon and had like a real moment. Like my dad has always thought his employees were his enemy because he grew up in Russia where everyone stole from the business. My dad is so scared of stealing. Like when they're stealing in a retail store. When one employee steals or a customer steals, it breaks his soul. It's like the thing he fears the most on earth. And so, you know, I wanted to build a brand because I knew that they weren't going to operate it as well as I did. And that's why I built the wine library brand instead of Shoppers Discount Liquors, because I knew I could build something that when I left, and it worked. You know, the decline after I left was slower than it would have been had I not built a brand.
When you went to VaynerMedia from that, you had created a brand, but now it probably felt like you had to just start over.
I did.
Like what transpired there, essentially, right? With you.
Well, I like starting over. I'll be honest with you. Even as you just said that, one of the things that sucks of becoming Garyvee is that I can't truly ever start over again. Meaning, like, you know, like it's gonna be like I'm pumped. The NFT thing is fucked up right now because everyone's shitting on it, and that's like good for me. I'm like, yeah. Like, you know, like I like being underestimated. I like when it's stacked against me. If I was an athlete, I would have been the kind of athlete that loved to be on the road when everyone's booing you. I love that, you know? And so I definitely loved it. I don't know what else to tell you. Like the economy had collapsed, similar to what might happen right now, you know? It was 2009. Nobody believed in social media and Fortune 5. It was like all stacked against me. Economy was crap. I had no money. We started VaynerMedia in somebody else's conference room because I had no money for rent. Nobody in the Fortune 500, Pepsi, NHL, Campbell's, our early clients even knew what social media was. My brother AJ's laptop registered the NHL on Facebook and Twitter, Campbell's Soup on Facebook and Twitter, Pepsi on Facebook and Twitter. Like it was real pioneer shit. You know, it was really fun. I loved it. I love it still today. We're now almost 1,500 employees globally, 300 in Asia, 300 in Europe, 200 in Mexico City. We've got a huge company. And I love that, you know, everybody yells at me for doing it. Everybody around me is mad that I'm the CEO of VaynerMedia because I'm a COO type CEO. I'm in like staffing meetings. And all my friends and fancy people are like, what are you doing? You know, but this goes back to the, you know, I always live the advice I give. I would make a lot more money if I hired a CEO for VaynerMedia. I just like doing it.